Simplex Method, and my team is.
My name is Arina Rivera.
My name is Brenda Garcia.
My name is Noemi Ordóñez.
In this video, we will explain how to solve a linear regression problem with the Simplex method in the Excel with the solver. 2. The example reads as follows. A tobacco producer owns 85 hectares of land to plant 2 varieties of tobacco, Virginia and process. The Virginia variety has an income of the 90,600 USD per hectare and needs 3 hours per hectare of machinery use and 80 hours per hectare of labor. In addition, the statute limits its exploitation to a maximum of 30 hectares. The processed variety has an income of 7,500 USD per hectare and use 2 hours per hectare of machinery use and 60 hours per hectare of labor. The local cooperative has allocated a maximum of 190 hours of machinery use and only 5,420 hours of labor and available at 12 USD per hour. Here we already have some tables. We arrange our information. This to make it easier to provide the data to solve. The first thing we must do is determine our variables. The problem says that the producer plants 2 varieties, Virginia and process, but it doesn't tell us how many hectares it needs for Virginia tobacco. So this will be our variable 1. We will name it x1 and place in this cell. Now, we also don't know how many hectares it needs for processed tobacco plant. So it will be our second variable. We will name this one x2 and we will place it here. Now, before we continue, we must determine the price. This will be according to the hours of labor needed and the price. This we will place in this part for variable x1 will be 8,640 and for x2 be 6,780.
Step is to determine the objective function. What you are looking for in this problem is to maximize our profit. So the objective function would look like this: maximize as a function of x equal to x1, which are the amount of hectares for Virginia tobacco, plus x2, which are the amount of hectares for processed tobacco, equal to 85, which are the hectares you own. In this case, for the objective function, we will use 2 cells. This one where we will use the sum function and select the cells that are empty at the moment, and the other cell that we will use is this one here, where we will place the sum product function and select the cells were empty and the one of the price determined our.
Now let's see the restriction or those resources that limit us. We will place them in this table. The problem says that the tobacco produce only owns 85 hectares, so the first restriction will be as follows.
Restriction 1, x1. Width is the number of hectares for Virginia tobacco, and we will represent it with a 1. It is set of column x1 plus x2, which is the number of hectares for processed tobacco, and in the same where we will represent in the A1 in the cell of column X2 less than or equal to 85 hectares with are the ones. This 85 we will place in the column marked as the right side of equality. On the other hand, it is also mentioned that the state limits the exploitation of Virginia tobacco to 30 hectares maximum. So we will have our second restriction, which is restriction to X1, which is the number of hectares of Virginia tobacco, and which we will also represent with a 1 we will place in the cell of the column of X1 less than or equal to 30 hectares, which are the hectares that are allowed, which we will place on the right side of equality.
Continue with the problem. It says that the local comparator has assigned to produce a maximum of 180 hours of use are imaginary. So the third restriction will be as follows. Restriction 3. 3x1. Which are the hours of use you need to produce Virginia tobacco by the number of hectares of Virginia tobacco. In this restriction, in column x1, we will place a 3. Since x1 is multiplied by the hours that are required plus 2x2, which are the hours of use you need to produce processed tobacco by the number of hectares of Virginia tobacco. In this column of x2, we place a 2 for which is a multiplicating by the hours less than or equal to 190. Finally, in this case, say that only 5,420 hours of labor are available. So the first restriction will be as follows. Restriction 4. 80x1, which is the required labor that are needed for Virginia tobacco, and will put 80 in the x1 column plus 16x2, which is the required labor needed for the processed tobacco. We put 16 in this restriction for the column less than or equal to 5,420, which are the hours of labor available to Jim, and we will place on the right side of equality.
We have the data organized the next time. We must do is place a formula on the left side so have solver can do its job. The formula is so product. We select the empty cells and the cells of the restriction. We set the range of the empty cells that we had enter and fill so that the formula is copied into the other restriction. Result solver. How to make solver work? We go to data from the Excel row. In data analysis there is solver. We click on it at this window with upper where it says save objective the cell where we place the sum of the empty sets this.
To maximize in this part of changing the variable cells, we select the rank of the empty cells. Then in subject to the constraints, we will click on add and this box will appear where it says cell reference. We will select the range of the life equality side LS. We select the section that asks us in this case less or equal, and in restriction we select the right side RS of the equality. We click accept, and now we only need to select the solver resolution method and click on resolve. As we can see, solver gives us the quantities of the characters that must be planted of each type of tobacco. For Virginia tobacco, 16 hectares, and for processed tobacco, 69 hectares.